Hi students, this is your instructor Megan. I just sent you grades and feedback for your week 3 requirements assignment. Overall, I was really impressed with your work on this assignment. Many of you did a great job going through the process of identifying, using what you identified about your users, all stepping through the process all the way up to coming up with context scenarios and then user requirements and then finally some framework requirements. The only thing that I tended to see across papers that many of you dealt with was features were creeping into parts of the process where they don't belong. So I saw a lot of context scenarios and user requirements that included features. Features should not be considered until the very end of the process you learned about in week 3. So in week 3, as you create context scenarios and then you use them to create user requirements, it's only after you've identified the user requirements that you start to brainstorm alternative features that allow for the requirements. So you don't want to put any features until you start coming up with those framework requirements. It's the last part of that process. And I want to show you a trick that you can use for identifying features where they don't belong. So I have an example from a student's paper, and I hate to pick on anyone specifically, but this student really did a nice job with this assignment. This is one of the only examples of a feature creeping in where it didn't belong. And I also think the student picked a really interesting user group and did some nice research. So if this is your example, I'm not meaning to pick on you individually. I actually think you're doing a really great job. This is just one example where feature is kind of creeping in. And it's the other reason I wanted to use this example is because the feature this person came up with is actually really cool. But this person, for user research, looked at students who were trying to compare prices for books. And this person interviewed 2 students and watched them as they tried to find the lowest price on a textbook. So this person's problem that they're trying to solve is that students have difficulty finding good prices on textbooks and understanding whether renting or buying is cheaper, and then where they should rent or buy from. Now there are actually a couple solutions to this available online, but I would guess most students probably don't know about them. So this person's vision statement is to create a product that helps students find lower prices easily from anywhere. So in this context scenario, this is the second context scenario. The first one took Bradley to the bookstore. So in this scenario, Bradley is in the bookstore. He's just found one and he needs another textbook. He can get it at the bookstore, but he'd like to find it at a lower price. So he scans the book's barcode with his phone's camera and it takes him to a search results page for that book. That's a feature. It's a really cool feature, but it's a feature. And the way you can separate feature from non-feature is to ask yourself if something's replaceable. So let's look at the first sentence. Bradley is looking for a textbook. He's at the bookstore and he can get it at the bookstore, but he wants to find a lower price. Great. That's what the vision statement is all about, right? Helping students find low prices anywhere. We can't really replace this with anything. Either he can find the lower price while he's at the bookstore or he can't. We can't really come up with another option here. Either he can or he can't do it. And the problem in vision statements and the user expectations tell us that it's pretty critical that he be able to do this. It's kind of like the point of the product, right? However, when he scans the book's barcode with his phone's camera, there's certainly different things that he could be doing there. So that's actually a really cool feature. I think it's really clever. It's really cool. It seems really easy. But it's not the only way for Bradley to get the low price in the bookstore. He could scan the barcode. He could take a picture of the cover of the book. He could type the ISBN into the phone or whatever he's got. He could type in anything about the book, like the author or the title. So there's different ways of doing that. I mean, really, he could tweet a picture of the book and someone could identify the book and tell him where the cheapest price is, right? There's all kinds of different ways of getting Bradley the low price while he's in the bookstore. Scanning the barcode is just one of the ways of doing that. That's how you can tell it's a feature. It's replaceable. There's different options or what we call in interaction design alternatives that fulfill that user requirement. So a good way of looking out for features where they don't belong is after you've come up with your problem statement, your vision statement, your user expectations, your context scenarios, and your user requirements, go through all of those and look for anything that's replaceable, anything that is one type of technology or task that could be, or interaction pattern that could be replaced with another one, and it's probably a feature. So just a little tip. Again, that was really the only thing I saw in your week 3 assignments. Overall, I was very impressed with your work on them. I can't wait to see your future assignments. I'll be sending you feedback on your week 4 assignments tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then we'll move on to week 5. Thanks.